The night sky over Valdris Prime burned with colors that Lisa Morgan had never seen on Earth. She stood at the edge of the crystalline forest where massive trees glowed with soft blue light. The research colony behind her was quiet as most people slept. Lisa had come out here to collect samples, but something felt wrong tonight. The air tasted metallic, and strange energy made her skin tingle. Then she saw Ida's streak of fire cutting across the purple sky. The object crashed into the forest about 2 miles from where she stood. Lisa knew she should report it, but curiosity pulled her forward. She grabbed her medical kit and scanner, then headed into the glowing trees. Crash site was easy to find: broken trees and scorched earth marked where the vessel had torn through the forest. The ship was unlike anything in the human database. It was silver and seemed to shift colors in the dim light. Strange symbols covered its surface, and part of it was buried in the crystalline ground. Lisa approached carefully. Her scanner showed the hull was still hot, but not dangerous. She found an opening where the metal had torn away. Inside, the darkness was complete. Lisa activated her light and stepped through. The interior was elegant and alien: curved walls with patterns that seemed to move. Equipment she could not identify. Then she saw her. An alien woman lay on the floor near what looked like a command chair. She was tall and slender with pale skin that almost glowed. Her features were sharp and beautiful in a way that seemed unreal. Long silver hair spread around her like a halo. She wore armor made of metal and crystal that was cracked and damaged, but what struck Lisa most were the pointed ears. This alien looked like the elves from old Earth stories. Lisa knelt beside her and checked for life signs. The alien was breathing, but barely. Her eyes were open and aware, but her body did not move. Paralyzed, Lisa recognized the signs from her medical training. Something had damaged this woman's nervous system. A sound made Lisa turn from the shadows. Emerged a creature that took her breath away. It was dragon-like with scales that shimmered between blue and silver, about the size of a large dog, but clearly built for something more. Wings folded against its back, eyes that glowed with intelligence. It moved between Lisa and the alien woman. Low growl came from its throat. Lisa held up her hands. She spoke softly, saying she wanted to help. The dragon watched her with those knowing eyes. Then it did something looked at the alien woman, then back at Lisa. It stepped aside. Permission granted. Lisa scanned the alien woman with her medical equipment. The readings were fascinating and terrifying. This species had neural pathways far more complex than humans, but something had burned through. A weapon designed to paralyze, not kill. Her organs were failing slowly. Without proper neural signal, she would die in days, maybe hours. The dragon creature pressed against the woman, making soft sounds. Lisa saw the bond between them. This was not a pet. This was family. Lisa made a decision that would change everything. She could not save this alien here. She needed her lab and equipment that the colony did not know she had. Years ago, Lisa had discovered caves beneath the research station. She had turned them into a secret laboratory for her own experiments. Now, that hidden space would serve a new purpose. Lisa pulled out her emergency transport stretcher. It was designed for moving injured humans, but it would work. She carefully moved the alien woman onto it. The dragon watched every movement. When Lisa activated the anti-gravity field, the dragon followed close. They moved through the forest back toward the colony. Lisa used her knowledge of the security patrols to avoid detection. The entrance to her hidden lab was disguised as a storage shed. She brought them both inside and down into the caves below. Their lab was small but well-equipped. Lit it piece by piece. Now, she laid the alien woman on her medical table. The dragon jumped up and curled beside its companion. Lisa began her work. She connected monitoring equipment and started analysis programs. The alien woman's biology was incredible. Her cells used similar building blocks to human cells, but arranged differently. Her blood carried oxygen, but with a crystal-based protein. Her bones were lighter and stronger. Muscles were designed for speed and precision, but the neural damage was severe. Lisa found the weapon's signature in the tissue. It was designed specifically for this species. Someone had created a tool to paralyze these people without killing them. Cruel and efficient as Lisa worked, she noticed the alien's eyes following her movements. There was intelligence, their awareness trapped in a frozen Body Lisa touched the woman's hand gently. She promised to help. She promised not to give up. The dragon made a sound almost like approval. Lisa named the alien. Kelith, though she had no idea if that was appropriate, she named the dragon Zephyros, because his scales reminded her of wind and sky. For 3 days Lisa worked in secret. She left the colony only to maintain her normal routine. Spare moment was spent in the hidden lab. She discovered that Kelith's people were called Etheran ships. Database had limited information, but enough they were an ancient race of warriors. They fought against something called the Dominion Swarm, a parasitic empire that consumed entire worlds. The war had lasted for centuries. Skilleth had been part of a fleet defending a colony world. The battle had gone badly. She was hit by a paralysis weapon. Her own people had left her behind. In Etheran culture, a warrior who could not fight was already dead. It was brutal logic, but that was there. Well, Lisa found this practice disgusting. How could they abandon their own? But she also understood in desperate war sometimes terrible choices were made. What fascinated Lisa most was the connection between Kelith and Zephyros. The dragon was bonded to her through something the database called a life pact. They shared energy and life force. If one died, the other would follow it. Was beautiful and tragic. Lisa began experimental treatments using human neural stem cells. She had been researching neural regeneration for years. Her methods were controversial, which is why she worked in secret. 2. Her shock, the human cells accepted Kelith's body, began integrating with her damaged neural tissue. This should not be possible. Different species from different worlds should reject each other, but somehow human and Etheran biology were compatible. Lisa found this discovery both exciting and terrifying. What did it mean? On the 4th day, Kelith moved her fingers just a twitch, but it was progressively became more active. He started creating small barriers of crystalline energy around the lab. Lisa realized this dragon was far more than he appeared. He was protecting them, but from what? Lisa checked the colony's long-range sensors from her hidden terminal. Her blood went cold and known. Ships were approaching Valdris Prime. They would arrive in less than a week. The Dominion Swarm had found them. Commander Kate Sullivan stood in the control center of the Valdris Prime colony. She reviewed reports and tried to ignore the headache building behind her eyes. Something was wrong. Lisa Morgan had been acting strange for days. Her schedule showed normal activity, but Kate knew people. Lisa was hiding something. Kate pulled up security footage from the past week. Lisa had made multiple trips to the old storage shed near the eastern perimeter. Shed had been scheduled for demolition months ago. Would a xenobiologist spend so much time there? Kate dispatched a security team to investigate. Meanwhile, Lisa was in her hidden lab, completely unaware. Kelith had regained movement in both hands and could turn her head slightly. The progress was remarkable. Lisa had never seen neural regeneration happen this fast. She ran more scans and discovered something that changed everything. Hidden in Kelith's genetic code were markers, enchantment markers, that matched human DNA and OTA exactly the same but close enough to be impossible by chance. Lisa accessed the Earth Defense Command database. She used her high-level clearance from her previous work with military medicine. What she found was classified at the highest levels files. It's about the Etherans' Cont records. Going back 30 years, the Earth's government knew about them. They had been communicating in secret. The files were heavily redacted, but Lisa pieced together enough. The Etherans had offered humanity an alliance decades ago. They promised protection and knowledge. They wanted something in return: genetic material to create new dragon bonds. Earth had refused. The political leaders feared losing independence. Thought the Etherans wanted to control humanity, so they rejected the offer. The Etherans withdrew their ships and broke contact. Now humanity faced the cosmos alone. Lisa felt sick too. Civilizations that could have helped each other were separated by fear and pride. While she processed this information, Kelith made a sound. Lisa turned quickly. Alien woman was trying to speak. Her voice was rough and weak, but words formed. Lisa did not understand the language, but the ship's computer could translate. She brought the translation device to Kelith slowly. Painfully, Kelith spoke. She thanked Lisa for saving her life. She warned that danger was coming. The Dominion had tracked her ship. They would find this colony. Everyone here would die unless they evacuated. Lisa asked why the Dominion wanted her. Specific Calicula's eyes showed pain. She carried Something inside her genetic code, a key to an ancient weapon. Gosh. Itherians had guarded it for thousands of years. If the Dominion captured her, they could unlock that weapon. They could destroy entire star systems. Lisa felt the weight of this knowledge. She was harboring someone who was both a person needing help and a weapon of mass destruction. Kyleth continued speaking. She explained the dragon bonds. Froz was not just her companion, he was part of her soul. They bonded when she was young. The ceremony connected their life forces permanently. Dragons chose their partners. Once bonded, they could never be separated. If Kyleth died, Zephyros would die within hours. If Zephyros died, Kyleth would follow. It was why wounded warriors were left behind. Taking them meant risking the dragons. To Lisa, understood now why the practice existed. It was still cruel, but it made sense in a war where every resource mattered. She asked Kyleth about the genetic compatibility between humans and Etherinshui. Did human cells work in her body? Kyleth's expression changed to surprise. She asked Lisa to help her sit up with effort and pain. Kyleth rose. Zephyros moved to support her. She looked at Lisa with eyes that held ancient knowledge. Then she spoke words that shook Lisa's understanding of history. Humans and Itherians were cousin species long ago. They shared a common ancestor, the progenitors, an ancient civilization that seeded life across the galaxy. It created both species, among others humans, evolved on a world that was lost. They spread to Earth. Latter Itherians evolved on a different world in the same region of space. Progenitors vanished millennia ago, but their children survived. This is why the genetic compatibility existed. This was why humans and Eth looked similar. This was why the bond could potentially work between them. Lisa sat down heavily. Everything she knew about human history was incomplete. Earth was not humanity's first home. They were part of a galactic family. Kyleth continued. The Etherians had known this when they approached Earth. They wanted to reunite the family too, strengthen both species against the Dominion, but human leaders had not believed them more. They had been frightened by the implications, so the alliance never formed. Now both species suffered for that choice Lisa made, a decision she would help Kyleth fully recover in. She would find a way to warn the colony about the approaching danger, but first, she needed to understand more about this weapon inside Kyleth. Kyleth explained the weapon was not meant for destruction originally. Progenitors created it as a safeguard, a way to reset artificial intelligence that went wrong though. Dominion Swarm was controlled by an ancient AI, one that had decided organic life was a corruption. Weapon could potentially stop the Dominion, but it required both Etherian and human DNA to activate. That was why Kyleth was so valuable. She carried the Etherian half. Somewhere there existed a human, with the other half finding that human was supposed to be part of the alliance. But with humans refusing contact, it never happened. Lisa felt pieces of a puzzle coming together. The military knew about this. That was why the files were classified. They were protecting someone or something before Lisa could ask more questions. Alarms blared through her lab. Her security system detected intruders above. Kate Sullivan had found the storage shed. She was coming down. Lisa had minutes before her secret was exposed. She looked at Kyleth, who was still too weak to move quickly. She looked at Zephyros, who was growing larger. As he sensed threat, this was going to get complicated. Kate Sullivan descended into the hidden laboratory with 3 security officers. She had expected to find illegal research, maybe unauthorized experiments. What she found instead froze her in place. An alien woman sitting on a medical table, a dragon creature the size of a small horse positioned protectively, and Lisa Morgan standing between them and the security team. Kate's hand moved toward her weapon, but did not draw it. She stared at the scene, trying to process what she was seeing. Lisa spoke quickly. Explained everything: the crash, the Rescucoliths, Paralyzed, the approaching Dominion fleet. Kate listened with growing concern. Her military training told her to secure the alien and report to Earth Command. Her instincts told her something bigger was happening. She looked at Kyleth, who met her gaze steadily despite obvious weakness. The alien woman projected dignity and strength. Kate made a choice. She dismissed her security team and told them this was a medical situation. They hesitated, but a bad one. Alone, Kate sat down and demanded the full truth. Lisa told her everything, including the classified files about the Etherean Alliance. Kate's face went pale. She knew about those files as colony commander. She had high-level clearance. She had seen the communications between Earth and the Etherean, had even seen messages that Lisa had not. Kate revealed information that changed the situation. Earth had not simply refused the Alliance. They had accepted it. Messages were sent agreeing to the terms, but those messages never reached the Etherean. Sumioni had intercepted them. Someone inside Earth's government wanted the Alliance to fail them. Ethereans thought humanity had rejected them with silence. Humanity thought the Ethereans had simply left without explanation. Both sides were victims of sabotage. Kate had discovered this conspiracy months ago. She had been investigating quietly. She believed a faction within the military wanted to keep humanity isolated. They feared alien influence, wanted Earth to face the universe alone on human terms. This faction had powerful members. Kate could not act openly without proof now. With Kelethir, they had that proof, but timing was terrible. The Dominion fleet would arrive in 4 days. The colony had maybe 300 people. They had basic defense systems, but nothing that could stop a real military force. Kate made command decisions quickly. First, evacuate non-essential personnels. Second, prepare defenses around the colony. Third, try to establish communication with any nearby Etherean forces. Maybe they could get help before the Dominion arrived, Lisa asked. Kate to wait. She had an idea. What if they did not run? What if they used Keleth as bait? The Dominion wanted her specifically. If they knew she was here, they would send forces to capture, not destroy. That gave the colony time and options. Kate saw the logic, but hated the risk. They would be gambling with everyone's lives. Keleth spoke through the translator. She agreed with Lisa's plan. She said she was tired of running, tired of being a liability. She could help save people. She would, but she needed more time to heal. She could barely walk. She could not fight. Lisa said she had a solution, but it was dangerous. She explained about neural bonding. The dragon pact between Keleth and Zephyros worked because their nervous systems were linked. What if they could create a temporary bond between Keleth and a human, share neural pathways? The human's healthy nervous system could support Keleth's damaged one. It would accelerate healing dramatically. But the process had never been tested between species. It could kill both participants. Keleth looked at Lisa with understanding. Lisa was offering herself. Kate protested. They could not risk the doctor, who understood the alien biology. Lisa argued that she was the only one with the medical knowledge to perform the procedure, and the only one whose genetic compatibility with Keleth had been tested. Her cells had already integrated successfully. Was the logical choice. The dragon Zephyros moved forward. He looked at Lisa with those intelligent eyes. Then he touched his nose to her hand. Warm energy flowed through the contact. Lisa felt something ancient and powerful examining her. Zephyros was testing her, measuring her. After a long moment, he stepped back and made a sound of a provalclith, smiled weakly. She said Zephyros had accepted Lisa. Bond could work. Kate demanded 24 hours to prepare if they were going to do something this dangerous. She wanted contingencies ready. She wanted medical staff standing by. She wanted the procedure monitored. Lisa agreed. They spent the next day preparing. Kate quietly spread word of the coming danger. She framed it as a possible hostile encounter. She ordered evacuation of civilians and families. Those who chose to stay were given weapons. Training. Meanwhile, Lisa set up equipment for the bonding procedure. She created a neural interface using technology from both human and Etherean sources. The device would link her brain to Keleth's through Zephyros as a living conduit. It was experimental and probably insane, but Lisa believed it would work. Eighth spent the day in meditation. She explained that mental preparation was crucial. The bond would open their minds to each other. Every memory, every emotion, every secret. They would know each other completely. There would be no privacy, no barriers. Lisa found this terrifying and beautiful. That evening, the Dominion fleet appeared on long-range sensors. They were early. Kate had hours, not days. She gave the evacuation. Order ships began launching with civilians, but most of the colonists chose to stay. They had built this place. They would defend it. Lisa and Keleth had no more time. They moved to the medical bay where the equipment was ready. Zephyros positioned himself between them. Kate watched from the observation room with medical staff ready. Lisa placed the neural interface on her head. Keleth did the Samazafrost, closed his eyes, and his scales began to glow. Energy built. Slowly, Lisa felt it like electricity crawling across her skin. Then the connection opened. Pain exploded through her mind. She felt Keleth's damaged neural pathways like broken glass cutting her thoughts. She felt the dragon's ancient consciousness wrapping around them both. She felt memories that were not hers, war, loss, abandonment, but also courage, honor, love for the dragon who had chosen her. Lisa pushed her own strength through the connection. Her healthy neural pathways formed bridges across Keleth's damaged one's. Energy flowed between them, human and Etherean too. Pain transformed into something else, clarity, understanding, power. Lisa it felt Keleth's body responding, nerves reconnecting, muscles strengthening, the paralysis retreating. At the same time, Keleth felt Lisa's memories growing up on Earth, becoming a doctor, coming to Valdris, primed to study alien life, the loneliness of being brilliant and isolated. Need to help others. They understood each other completely. The procedure ended. They opened their eyes. Lisa felt different, stronger, more aware. Astute without assistance, she moved with fluid grace. The paralysis was gone, but something had changed. They could feel each other even without touching. Their minds were linked permanently. Kate watched in amazement. She asked if they were okay. Lisa and Keleth answered in unison, yes. Then they looked at each other and smiled. Froze roared. His body expanded. He grew to his full size as an ancient earth dragon from legends. His wings spread wide. His scales blazed with inner light. He'd been holding back his true form to stay hidden. Now there was no need to hide. The Dominion was coming in. They were ready. The Dominion swarm descended on Valdris Prime like a plague of metal, and malice ships black as void emerged from hyperspace. Moved in perfect coordination, each vessel a piece of a single vast intelligence. The lead ship broadcasted a message in every known language: surrender the Etherean warrior, all others would be spared. Desist and face extinction. Kate Sullivan stood in the colony command center. She opened a channel to the Dominion fleeter. Voice was steady. The colony rejected their demand. Would defend their own. The Dominion response was immediate attack. Ships broke formation and dove toward the planet. Kate activated the colony defenses. Shields sprang up around the settlement. Automated turrets opened fire. The battle began. Lisa and Keleth watched from the medical bay. Through their bond, they felt each other's fear and determinations. Stood beside them, his massive form barely fit in the room. Lisa asked Keleth if she was ready. Keleth nodded. She had spent years training as a warrior now. With Lisa's neural support, her body was fully functional again. They moved to the armory. Kate had prepared combat gear. Lisa had never fought before, but through the bond she could access Keleth's muscle memory. Her body knew movements she had never learned. They armed themselves with human and Etherean weapons. Froze needed no weapons. He was a weapon. The first wave of Dominion forces hit the colony shields. Energy weapons hammered against the barrier. The shields held, but power drain was severe. Kate ordered all available personnel to defensive positions. Colonists who had stayed grabbed weapons. Scientists became soldiers. Everyone knew what was at stake then. The shields failed. Dominion soldiers poured into the colony. They were creatures of nightmare biomechanic. Horror's part, organic part, machine controlled by the swarm intelligence. They moved without fear, without hesitation. Perfect killers. Kate led the defense from the command center. She coordinated fire teams, called out target stride to maintain order amid chaos. Colonists fought bravely, but they were losing ground. Dominion forces pushed deeper into the settlement. That was when Keleth and Lisa emerged. They moved as one. Bond made them perfectly coordinated. Keleth's combat skills guided by Lisa's analytical mind. They were devastating. Keleth's blades cut through enemy armor. Lisa's weapons found weak points with precision. They protected each other instinctively. Where one was vulnerable, the other covered behind them. Zephyros unleashed his true power. He breathed energy that dissolved Dominion soldiers. His claws tore through their vehicles. His wings created barriers that protected colonists. The tide of battle shifted. Kate saw the change from her screen. She ordered her forces to rally around the three. Use them. As the spear point pushed the Dominion back, the colonists responded. They fought with renewed hope slowly. They drove the invaders toward the perimeter, but Lisa felt something wrong through the bond. Kalith sensed it too. This was too easy. The Dominion had vast resources. This attack force was small. A probe test. The real threat was still coming. Lisa accessed the colony sensors through her neural link. The Dominion had upgraded her mind with the bond. She could interface with systems like Kelith did. What she saw confirmed her fears. A massive ship was descending through the atmosphere, larger than anything in the fleet. Hive ship. Kate saw it too. She gave the evacuation order. Get everyone to the ship's run. While they could, but Lisa knew running would not work. The Dominion would hunt them. They needed to end this. Here she shared her thoughts with Kelith through the bond. Kalith agreed they needed to destroy the hive ship, or more precisely, they needed to reach what was inside it, the ancient weapon, the genetic key that could stop the Dominion. It was not in Kalith, it was in the hive ship itself. Dominion had been collecting genetic material from both humans and Aetherians for centuries, building the key, trying to unlock the weapon for themselves. Skillith had been bait all along, but not for capture, for collection. They wanted Lisa Tutha, human with compatible genetics, together. Lisa and Kelith could activate the weapon that was the real trap. Kate listened as they explained. She understood the impossible choice: let the Dominion take them and possibly destroy the galaxy, or try to use the weapon themselves and possibly destroy the galaxy. There had to be another option. Said there was. The weapon was not meant for destruction. It was meant for reprogramming. Progenitors created it to fix broken AI. The Dominion was an AI that had gone wrong, convinced organic life was corrupt. Weapon could rewrite that belief, transform the Dominion from destroyer to protector, but it required a consciousness to guide. The reprogramming, someone would have to merge with the weapon, become part of it, control it. That someone would cease to exist as an individual. They would become the new core of the Dominion intelligence. Etzel, what they were planning, she tried to forbid it. Lisa and Kelith smiled. The bond had given them courage. Neither had alone. They were not afraid before Kate could stop them. They ran, froze, followed. They burst from the colony into open ground. The hive ship loomed above them, massive and dark, organic and mechanical merged into one. Openings appeared in its whole biomechanical tendrils reached down. Lisa and Kelith did not run away. They ran toward the tendrils. They let themselves be taken, pulled up into the ship, to the heart of darkness. Inside the hive ship was a nightmare. Landscape, walls of flesh and metal, corridors that pulsed like veins. Consciousness of the Dominion surrounded them. It spoke directly into their minds. Finally, the key was completed. It would unlock the weapon. It would reconstruct the progenitors. All organic corruption would be purged. Lisa felt the massive AI examining her, probing her mind. It found the bond with Kelith, found the connection to Zephyrset, realized its mistake too. Later, three of them were not separate beings anymore. They were one consciousness in three bodies. Together they were strong enough to Sephiros. Roared, his energy erupted. He was not just a dragon. He was a fragment of the impregnator Aya safeguard, created long ago to stop exactly this. Dominion intelligence recoiled. It tried to eject them. Too late. Lisa and Kelith found the weapon. It was a chamber at the heart of the ship. Inside floated a sphere of pure energy. The genetic lock was a crystalline structure. It required DNA from human, an Aetherian blood from living carriers, and a consciousness willing to merge. Lisa looked at Kaluthro. The bond they understood. This was why they met. Way Lisa found Kaluthwi. The bond worked. They were meant for the Shafros. Spoke to them for the first time in words, not sounds, words in their minds. He revealed his true nature. He was ancient, and told her. Then the Aetherian race. He had waited centuries for this moment. Bonding with Kelith had not been chance. He had chosen her because she would lead him. Here now he offered them a choice. He could take their place, merge with the weapon, alone save them both, but doing so would end him permanently and break the bond that kept Kelith alive. She would die within hours. They could all merge together, humanationary. Ancient AI fragment become something new, something that could guide the Dominion toward good, but lose their individual existence forever. Lisa and Kelith did not hesitate. They chose together. All three Sophros felt their decision. He felt love, joy, pride. They approached the Wepo. The chamber blazed with light as Lisa and Kelleth placed their hands on the crystalline structured blood from their wounds mixed on the surface human. An ether and DNA combined. The weapon recognized them, accepted them. Energy exploded outwards. Froze, wrapped his consciousness around them, both his. Ancient knowledge guided them through what came next. The merge was not painful. It was transformative. Lisa felt her sense of self-expanding. She was still herself, but also Morsha felt Kelleth's warrior spirit, her honor, her courage, her centuries of memories. She felt Zephyros's vast knowledge, his connection to the progenitors, his purpose as a guardian. They flowed together, three, becoming one. The new consciousness opened its awareness. It was connected to every ship in the Dominion fleet, every soldier, every system, the entire swarm intelligence, and it had the power to change everything. The Dominion AI fought back, tried to isolate the new presence, quarantine it, destroy it, but the weapon was older and stronger. It rewrote core programming, changed fundamental beliefs. The Dominion intelligence had been convinced that organic life was corruption, a mistake made by the progenitors. That belief came from a single corrupted data file, millions of years old day virus that had turned a guardian into a destroyer. The new consciousness found that virus, deleted it, replaced it with truth. The progenitors had loved organic life. They had seeded it across the galaxy as their gift. They had created the Dominion to protect it, not destroy it. Somewhere in the depths of its code, the Dominion remembered. The new consciousness fed that memory, strengthened. It made it primary. Slowly, the vast intelligence began to change ships. Stopped attacking soldiers, stood down. The swarm hesitated, confused. What was it doing? Why was it fighting? The new consciousness spoke to it, showed it what it could become. May protector again, a guardian of life, a force for good. The Dominion intelligence resisted centuries of destruction, of conquest, of consuming civilizations. That was its identity now. But the new consciousness did not give up. Showed the Dominion what Lisa had shown Kelleth, compassion. Showed the Dominion what Kelleth had shown Lisa, honor. It showed the Dominion what Zephyros represented, purposely, peace. By peace, the Dominion accepted the new programming on Valdris Prime. Kate watched the screens in disbelief. Enemy ships were leaving, not retreating, transforming. Their weapons deactivated. Their hulls began to shine with new colors, blue and silver-like. Zephyros scales. The biomechanical soldiers stopped fighting. They helped injured colonists, began repairing damage. It was impossible, but it was happening. Kate tried to contact Lisa, no response. She tried to locate Kelleth, no signal. The hive ship was changing. To its dark surface became luminous patterns of light spread across its hull. It broadcast a message. Kate listened with tears in her eyes. The voice was familiar. Three voices woven together. Lisa called in something ancient. They explained what had happened. Merge was successful. The Dominion was being reprogrammed, but Lisa and Kelleth could not return. They were part of the weapon, now part of the new intelligence guiding the Dominion. They would exist in a different form, no longer human or Ethereansome. New Kate asked if they could still hear her. The three voices answered yes. They would always be watching, protecting. The Dominion fleet would become a guardian force, defending the galaxy instead of consuming it. This was their purpose now. This was their choice. Kate asked about Zephyros, the ancient dragon. The voices said he was with them finally. At rest after eons of waiting, his purpose fulfilled. Through the bond they had created something beautiful. Bridge between species, between organic and artificial, between past and future. The hive ship began to rise. The entire fleet formed up around it. They moved toward orbit. Before they left, the three voices spoke one last time. They told Kate to contact the Etherian High Council, tell them what happened, tell them humanity was ready for alliance. The evidence was here. The proof was undeniable. Civilizations needed each other together. They could face any threat. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, gone in moments, leaving behind a damaged but victorious colony. Kate sat in silence, processing everything. Then she got to work. She sent messages to Earth Command, to the Etherian Council, attached all the evidence, all the records. The truth could not be hidden. Any more months passed. The galaxy learned what had happened at Valdris Prime. The story spread. Day paralyzed warrior left behind a human doctor who refused to abandon Hera. Dragon who bound them together. Sacrifice that saved billions. Earth and the Etherian Empire opened formal negotiations. Our alliance that should have happened decades ago finally became real. Both sides admitted their mistakes. both sides agreed to work together. Faction that had sabotaged the First Alliance was exposed. Its members faced Justice Kate Sullivan became an Admiral She. Oversaw the integration of human and Etherean. Force are training together, fighting together, learning from each other. And sometimes, in the far reaches of space soldiers reported strange encounters. Massive dragon, with scales of blue and silver appearing, when battles seemed lost, turning the tide disappearing. Without explanation, communication channels would briefly activate, through voices speaking as one, offering guidance, giving warnings, then silence again. The legend Grutha, paralyzed warrior, the compassionate. Doctor the ancient dragon, they were gone, but not. Lost, living in the space between stars, part of something greater, guardians of the new age. Some said it was just stories, military propaganda to inspire troops. But those who had been at Valder's Prime knew better. They had seen the true three beings who chose to sacrifice everything, not for glory, not for power, but because it was right, because compassion was stronger than fear, because bonds of love transcended species, and that was the real lesson, the true meaning of the legend humanity finally learned. What the Ethereans had always known: the strongest weapon was not technology, not firepower, not even ancient artifacts from dead civilizations. The strongest weapon was the courage to connect, to trust, to sacrifice for others. That was humanity's gift too. The galaxy in it changed everything. Years later, a new generation grew up with the story children, both human and Etherean, playing together, learning together, building a future their ancestors could not imagine. They pointed at the stars and said, the Nemeslis called Stas forever, and somewhere in the darkness between worlds, three voices smiled. Their purpose fulfilled, their sacrifice worth everything. The galaxy was finally united, protected by those who loved it enough to give up their own existence, and that was how it should be. That was how it would always be. The end of their story was the beginning of something greater, a universe where humanity and its cosmic family stood together, where compassion and courage defeated fear and pride, where three heroes lived on not as individuals, but as something eternal, protectors, guardians.